Hey Deckers, Dungeons of Hinterberg is now available. The mix of action RPG by day and social sim by night. Huge thanks to Curve Games for giving us a key to test this out and early access so that we can have this review ready for release. Now, it's a very unique twist on the dungeons. There's 25 of them available to work your way up through with either puzzle, combat or boss fight focus. So not every dungeon you walk into is going to be filled with monsters. Some of them will be just puzzle based, with a little bit of fighting here and there. During the evenings and a little bit in the morning, you get to choose what you do, and you can even go and explore the world. Now, I'm a little bit surprised that this got verified status. Yes, it does work out of the box, but the performance is a little bit all over the place and quite jerky. So I am a little bit surprised that it came with verified rather than playable status, especially as we have very limited options on those graphics. By default, it is set to the highest quality, which for the most part does work very well, but when you get into some of the combat scenarios, and especially this out and about world kind of exploration between dungeons, the frame rate does plummet somewhat, and so does the frame time spike, and it does make quite a jerky experience, even down into the 30s from that 60 frames per second fairly regularly. There's no chance of getting the 90 on the OLED with this one, even when we tweak things down. But when we go into the kind of low performance mode, things get really fuzzy and we don't gain a huge amount of frames per second. So as you can see here, the combat is quite involved. There are lots of skills and bits and pieces to really kind of mix and match bits and pieces, and you'll see some special abilities in a little bit, but the frame rate is kind of all over the place. So with a couple of tweaks from that high performance, it can be made a little bit more stable, but I don't recommend that we go too low on this, otherwise things just look really fuzzy. And with this graphic style, you do want that higher quality as much as possible. So if we go into the graphic settings and tweak it under the customize graphics section, you have to scroll all the way down. There's these kind of sub menus, and then we're going to change the outline quality to low, as well as the skinning quality to low as well. Leave everything else as it is with VSync off. Don't bother locking the frame rate as it's only 30 or 60 available, and you'll see things smooth out quite a lot. Now, there are still some hefty load spikes in certain sections where it will still spike down into sub 40s, but the second part of this, which really saves on the battery life big time, and you won't notice a huge amount of difference apart from being a lot more stable, is to limit this to 45 frames per second and 45 Hz on the Steam Deck. Now, unfortunately, due to a bug, it seems with the external screens right now, it doesn't apply the actual frame rate limit, but it does limit or show the effects of the TDP change. So you'll see that now that I've limited this to 45 frames per second and hertz, for some reason it half caps to 40 FPS on the external screen, but not all of the time. You'll see that wattage come right down to the 15 watt range. So it saves around 5 to 6 watts TDP just by capping this at 45 frames per second. So you want it 40 on the LCD or 45 on the OLED for that, because of the 90 Hz max on the OLED and 60 on the Steam Deck. That will give you a much more stable experience. You will still get the occasional load spikes down, but it really doesn't make a massive amount of difference with those other little tweaks as well. It makes it much more stable and a much more enjoyable experience all round. I have tested this on Xbox Game Pass as it is there as well, and there is no cross save unfortunately, so if you are looking to dip between Game Pass and Steam, then unfortunately you will not be able to take over your progress. So you will need to stick with Steam or Game Pass if you want to play all the way through. Otherwise, running fantastically well on the Steam Deck, and so many different aspects to this game to get your teeth into. Leveling up certain abilities. You can go and either relax at a spa or at rest spots to not do a dungeon during the day, and you'll level up your abilities. Let us know in the comments below if you're going to be diving into this one. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.